Hello, hello. Oh, welcome back to this new video series where I am sharing my biggest lessons and unpacking some of the things I've learned in the last few years around my spiritual and healing journey. Welcome. My name is Shannon. I am a shamanic practitioner. I work with the womb and with the stars. Those are my two specialties, but I work everywhere as well, everywhere within the shamanic realm. So I connect in with the earth, the stars, and the womb. My specialty is in healing the body, healing the emotions, the emotional system, healing the nervous system, and coming into contact and relationship with the womb and with your life force, sexual energy. In today's video, this is video 6 in this series, I am going to talk about how to know when you need to ask for help versus when you can do it yourself. This is something that I think a lot of us struggle with. I know I've struggled with it a lot. And I want to give just a little bit of insight into how I answer this question, how I decide if I need help or if I need to do it myself. So I have done a lot of both, honestly, in my life. I first stumbled into my spiritual practice pretty much by myself. I had some outside influences. For example, my mother was very connected into spiritual beliefs and exploration from the time I was pretty young. So I grew up connected into the idea that there was spiritual energy around me. But I also grew up raised for a while with like for the first part of my life within the Catholic Church. So it was like two very differing energies, spirituality versus religion. Um, and so when I stumbled into my spiritual practice, which was when I started connecting with my body, with the stars, the energies, the connections that led me to doing my shamanic apprenticeship and starting my work as a shamanic practitioner in this world, I did a lot of that by myself. There was a lot of self-exploration. There was a lot of like self-teaching. And then I realized I actually need to learn more because I can offer my raw gifts, but I can be a lot more impactful to the people I help if I actually get training. And so that was why I found my shamanic teacher. And so let's actually start with that, the self-taught versus training. I do have a lot of things I share that are self-taught. My Akashic, the way I read the Akashic records was given to me by spirit and then refined via my shamanic apprenticeship and my shamanic learning. The way I work with the womb was given to me by spirit within my shamanic apprenticeship and refined by my guidance, by the guidance of my teacher, an elder in the shamanic field who helped me figure out, how to put what I was learning and receiving from spirit into something uh, tangible for the world. I've also read books and taken courses from other teachers, practitioners who have helped me understand and put into words more of what I have received and in my own self-taught, spirit-taught practices. So I consider myself a really beautiful blend of self-taught and trained and guided. And I think this is really important. I'm going to be a little radical here. I don't actually trust or ever connect or receive services from anyone in a spiritual space who is completely self-taught. Someone who is self-taught and has never done a training program with anyone else, never had a trainer, a coach, a teacher who has helped them work through their human blocks, as it were, so they can get really deep into their spiritual discernment, so they can be sure that they are truly bringing through the truth from spirit around them that spirit is giving to them. I don't work with those people, and I never recommend them to other people. Their work might be really beautiful, but if you have not gone through training, I don't trust in the energy of your self-taught channel. And that's because I have honestly known and worked with several people over my years in this space who were completely self-taught and had absolutely no idea who they were channeling, what they were saying, were honestly very, very harmful in their spiritual work. And I experienced the harm and saw the harm like firsthand and saw the harm on other people firsthand. And I do not condone that. Training is important. That is why I offer training programs now that spirit and my teacher have told me you are free to offer training programs in shamanic work. So I offer my own training programs. I train people in the Akashic records. I train people in womb work, and I also offer mentorship for people who want to have someone to reflect back to them. And that's also, I think, a very valid space of, if you're self-taught, but you want some mentorship, you take it, you go into a space of mentorship to have other people reflect to you what you are receiving and learning from spirit, to make sure that you have brought in the correct discernment to be able to share it safely with others. That, I think, is also very valid, but there has to be some kind of training in there in order to know you can do it yourself. Know you can help other people. So that's a little bit of a deviation from my original topic of when to ask for help versus when you can do it yourself. But I think that was a really important thing to come in. Spirit brought that in. So I'm just going to say thank you, Spirit, for bringing in that little tidbit. um, so that's my view, as a shaman, as a teacher, as a spiritual practitioner, as someone who is self-taught and extensively years of intensive training trained. um, that's my view on self-taught versus trained, because also a lot of what I was self-taught came through in my trainings, in the years I spent being extensively trained in my shamanic work, which allowed what I was receiving from spirit to really be filtered through the lens of being within an apprenticeship as well, so that my teacher could keep me on the up and up, keep me aware of my discernment, my ego, my my human errors, because we are human, we are not spirit, we have our own biases, my human biases, that's a better word than errors. So nice. So there's that. And then on to the other part of the topic, which is when to ask for help versus when to do it yourself. Um, I'm going to say, first off, if you have never asked for help before, the answer is always going to be ask for help. If you have never connected and done therapy, if you have never worked with a spiritual mentor or coach, and I coach lightly, like the coaching industry is very interesting. So spiritual mentor, spiritual teacher, spiritual guide, and you are in a place where you are in a big healing journey, and you know that there are soul things you need to uncover. You need to maybe do some inner child work, reconnect with yourself, come back into connection with and conversation with your soul and your body. And you have never received guidance from somebody for that before, you've been trying to do it all by yourself, the answer is immediately going to be go seek help. Get a guide, get a mentor, get a teacher, get a therapist, get somebody who can hold space for you and teach you and help you, because you deserve it. You deserve it. And also, we can never see all of our blind spots by ourselves. We need somebody to help us see our blind spots and to help reflect to us what we're not seeing, help reflect to us where we are keeping ourselves stuck. We need that. That is so important to our growth. And so if you have not given yourself that gift yet, or have not been able to before, but maybe are now in a space where you are able to give yourself the gift of a therapist, a guide, a teacher, a healer, please do that for yourself. On the other hand, if you have been in that space for a long time and you've had guide after guide, therapist after therapist, healer after healer, and you're in a place where you're still like, maybe I need more help, take a break. If you do anything, do a self-guided course. Do something like a membership where you are not one-on-one being supported. You're being supported within a group. For example, I have a womb awakening school. It's a 12-month membership. And in there, we do meet once a week on Zoom, but as a group, you're not getting one-on-one support from me. You can ask me questions, of course, and you get answers and you get responses. And in our calls, you can bring things up and get one-on-one support from me. But we're not sitting on a call together for 2 hours, which is what I do with my mentorship clients or apprenticeship clients. And you're not getting one-on-one reflection from me. And that membership is specifically designed for people who want a supportive space to stay in, but are like, you know what, I actually don't need, I don't need another one-on-one therapist or healer or coach right now. I actually need to integrate what I've learned, and I can still maybe learn some more, but I need to learn how to reflect to myself. And that is something I work on with everyone I work with too, like how to reflect themselves, how to validate themselves, how to connect into their own internal guidance. But the only way to fully integrate that is to then finish a container and go spend some time by yourself and not go right to somebody else to hold space as a guide or a healer. I think that's incredibly important. I have definitely done a few mentorships with other people before where I jumped in too fast and I actually should have just stayed by myself and like stayed in my own energy because I just finished another container or another training and should have just integrated by myself. So I've learned this by literally doing it. Um, and I have also spent a lot of time in, again, trainings. Like I said, I've done years of shamanic training. I have done years of therapy for my mental and brain health, my human health. I have done coaching containers. I have worked with others where I've needed it and felt like I needed that support and reflection and guidance. But I've also taken time where I've gone, you know what? No one else has the answer for me. I have learned what I needed to learn from other people. And in this season, I actually need to just learn from myself because I need to learn how to integrate and live and embody everything that I have learned from the people who I have asked for guidance from. Um, so there is a place where you have to figure out, maybe I need actually to just take some time to myself. And that is something when you feel that, you also want to check in with your body and ask, am I actually just doing this because of fear? Because there are times where we hold ourselves back from working with somebody else or getting, a reflection or training from somebody, especially on a spiritual path, because we're fearful of it. We're fearful of what it will bring forward for us. So we want to check in with our fear and we want to check in with our body and make sure we're not being led by fear, but also make sure we're not being led by lack, where we're going, oh, I need more. And if I do the more, then I will finally get where I want to be. So when to ask for help, when you haven't received help before, or when you've just taken a big break and you've really learned to live and embody what you've already been through, what you've already learned, and you're ready for the next level because you're ready to digest it. And when to do it yourself, when you have been through a lot of, like, you're just come through a season of doing a lot of intense like one-on-one reflecting, healing work, and you actually need to learn how to just live with it and integrate it, that's when you should take some time to yourself. Obviously, it's a little more complicated when we get into our own personal, each of us have our own personal stories and path, but that would be my kind of overall general advice for when to decide to ask for help versus when to take some time to yourself. And again, if you decide to take time to yourself, I think something that can always be helpful is being in a container, like a membership where you have support, but you're not having one-on-one support. So you still have to put into practice everything that you've been learning, but you don't have someone holding your hand doing it. And there are times we need hand holding, and there are times we need to take responsibility and do it ourselves within the safety of having a container. So that is also something that is a very valid need and space that we can be in. All right, I hope that this has been helpful. Uh, as always, please let me know if you have any comments, ideas, anything that comes through after you watch this or as you watch it. I welcome hearing your views and opinions, and if you agree or disagree, or if there's anything you'd like to add, or as always, if there's anything you'd like me to expand upon. So please let me know. Thank you for being here, and I am just sending you a lot of love and blessings.